Hey guys, welcome to another D-Money video. Another video on Hearthstone Mercenaries, the game mode that just came out 2 days ago. Gonna go over the pros and the cons of the game mode, so strap in, let's go. We have the pros and the cons list right here, as you see on the screen. We're gonna start with the pros first, because I mean, I've been saying some negative things about the game mode, but there are definitely some pros. There's actually more pros on this list than cons, I believe, so let's get right into it with the pros, starting with the pros here. Free-to-play friendly. It's very free-to-play friendly. Actually, it's actually more play to win than pay to win than I originally thought, and I think a lot of people first thought. Basically, I mean, I got all the pre-orders, so I had over 140 packs to open in total so far, and I'm still missing a lot. And at the beginning of the game, you actually have to, like, in order to unlock the other abilities that you have to play the PvE mode, yeah, or PvP, I guess you could play. But you have to actually play to unlock a lot of things for your characters that you'll be able to upgrade with those coins that you open up in the packs. So in order to even get to the pay to win spot, you have to actually play a decent amount of the game. So it is very free-to-play friendly. I know there's a lot of creators that are doing free-to-play runs. They're not spending a dime on the game, and yeah, if you grind it, you totally can get everything you need, especially with the tasks. Like, even if you pay all the money in the world, you still have to grind out all these tasks if you want to get to, like, let's say, Thrall's Task 7 ability, which is Doomhammer, which is probably one of the most powerful abilities in the game. You have to play. Of course, you can just choose the mercenaries that you want at the beginning, just pay to get all their abilities leveled up once you level them up to 30. I mean, that's not really putting you at such a big advantage. Somebody can totally grind that out themselves, and the matchmaking is going to match you against somebody that has a similarly leveled team anyway. So I'd say it's very free-to-play friendly thus far. You can grind while multitasking. This is a very real thing. The PvE content is very doable while you're doing something else, while you're in bed, while you're on the toilet, while you're just you're watching something. Zeddy said while he was editing, he's gonna be playing, he's gonna be grinding some PvE stuff. Like, it's very easy stuff most of the time until you get to the heroics. So very multitaskable and not that hard to get through. Yeah. PvP is very skill intensive. This is a big one. So unlike standard, at the moment, decisions actually matter in this game mode. There's a lot of decisions to be made, whether it's just the, like, first of all, building your comp. Then second of all, once you get into the game, it's like which mercenaries do you want to send out first. You can see the colors of of what your opponent has on their team, but you don't know, of course, what they have unless you've played against them multiple times. Or you're stream sniping. So a lot of decisions to be made at all points of the game. At the beginning, like for the mercenaries, the order that you throw your mercenaries out there, the order that you use their abilities in, of course, who to target with each ability. Do you want to go for the critical hit on somebody, or do you just want to finish off one guy first, and or do you want to be defensive? Stuff like that. There's so many decisions to be made. You really have to take so much into account when you are making your decisions in the game. And there's also, like, a big element of mind games in the PvP as well, which is very cool. So very skill intensive. You'll love to see it. Decisions mattering. That's very cool. Yeah. PvE does not feel that bad to play. It's actually, like I said before, with the multitasking thing, it's very simple, it's very easy, and it's kind of fun, you know? It has that roguelike, Slay the Spire-esque kind of feel to it in the PvE. It's pretty basic, it seems. Like, there's a lot of overpowered treasures that you could get, at least in the casual ones. I haven't done many heroics. I've heard the heroics are pretty difficult, though, so then it should be more interactive. And yeah, it doesn't... Overall, the PvE, I don't really like single-player content myself, but the PvE actually doesn't feel that bad to play, personally. And I think a lot of people, yeah, they actually kind of enjoy it. There's a lot of different compositions to try, and this is very important. There's only 55 mercenaries in the game right now, which is not that many, but it's actually a decent amount, so that there are many different ways that you can run your comps. There are a few standout heroes that a lot of people are using in most of their comps, but there's a lot that you can try out. There's actually, and like, not even just the hero compositions. There's also equipment compositions that you can do as well, that can change up the way that you play your team. And the last thing on the pros list is animations and portraits. They look phenomenal, and I mean, I'm not really surprised. That's one thing that you can always count on with Blizzard and Hearthstone, is that the animations are going to look spectacular. The voice lines are going to be good. The portraits are everything's going to look nice. Moving on to the cons list, we're going to start off with the robust matchmaking system. Yes, Hearthstone put out a banger tweet yesterday, talking about how robust this matchmaking system is. And I mean, the matchmaking system is actually very smart. It is, because it's matching you against somebody with similar level, equipment, upgrades, and everything. So there is a lot that has to go into that. But it's horrible. It's smart, but it's horrible, because it's so hard. Like I said in the last video that I did, it's so hard to find a real opponent. It took me about 10 hours to find my first human opponent. And I mean, it speeds up dramatically once you get all your heroes to level 30, all your mercenaries to level 30. Then you actually find opponents like a majority of the time, especially when you rank up, when you get your rating a lot better, like maybe around 6K, then you'll basically find an opponent most of the time. And that's very nice, but like, I want to be able to find people consistently at most levels. I don't want to play against PvE. I don't want to play against a bot the whole entire time, or the whole thing is, this leads me to my next con, which is it's very grindy. And I mean, grind, it's a good thing to a point, but the matchmaking system actually makes it super duper grindy if it wasn't grindy enough. Because, for instance, this is what happened to me yesterday. I had a full team of level 30 finally, and I went into PvP. I was having fun. I was actually like enjoying myself, because I think the PvP content is very fun. But then it turns out that I didn't really like a few people in my team. I wanted to switch it up. But I can't switch it up and still find human opponents, because if I switch it up, I'm going to be switching to guys that are not level 30. So I basically had to level up. I had this beast team that I wanted to try out, and I had them at level 20, thankfully. And I got them all to 30 in about 2 hours or so. Then I finally queue up with them as well, and I get destroyed. And it turns out the beast team sucks. But I wouldn't have known that, because I was destroying the bots. I was doing really well against the bots. So I really didn't find that out until I started playing against real people, that my beast team was really bad. And I got this team to level 30, and now I can't. Now I want to play with something else. So now I have to grind that team to level 30. So the matchmaking system, it's smart, but it's also horrible. They have to loosen it up, because it's way too hard to find a human person if you don't have that exact level 30 comp. And besides the fact that you have to get to level 30, like the grind, it's very grindy in the fact that you have to play these PvE. You have to play the PvE a lot to get those task 7 equipments. And I mean, even task 2 equipments, you still have to play a decent amount. And you can't get... The only way to get tasks, to get new tasks, is by playing the PvE mode and just hoping that the mystery spot gives you a mysterious stranger to visit your town. And then you have to actually high roll the one that you want, and you also have to know which one it is that you want ahead of time, because you can never go back in there. You have to make the decision right on the spot. Or you can get new tasks by... every single day, there will be like 2 or 3 people that visit your town, and they give you tasks, but it's just all random who you get the tasks for. So if I get a task for Vol'jin, and I don't want a task for Vol'jin, then too bad. That's my task for the day. So if you're just playing straight PvP, you will never be able to get that task 7 equipment. So they basically force you to play PvE to get those tasks, or else you're going to be waiting literally months for maybe the tasks that you need for those characters that you want. Hard to stream. The game is hard to stream. That is because, I mean, the PvP is not hard to stream. It's actually I think it's entertaining. Especially if you, like, we're gonna get into the learning curve thing in a bit. But if people know what's going on, if they know all the abilities, then I think it is pretty easy to stream. the PvP is actually, I think it's decent to watch. Especially there was a tournament that went on yesterday, and that seemed very fun to watch. A lot of it's very action-packed, very fast-paced, but it's so hard to stream this mode because of that PvE aspect, because it's so big in the game. So like, I want to get another team to level 30, but like, people don't want to watch me just grinding my guys up to level 30. That's just not content. Like, content is the PvP. That's where all the content is. So it's so hard to stream this game unless you have all your guys at level 30 and you have all the equipment that you want, because nobody's going to want to watch you play PvE mode. That's just what it is. I think the only time where it's actually acceptable to stream the PvE content is probably these first few days. Then it's gonna get really, really boring to watch. Like right now, people still don't really know everything, so they're still asking questions about like, what's the best way to grind PvE and like, whatever. Like, it's still kind of interesting, the PvE to watch, but it'll drastically, it's gonna become unstreamable very, very soon. The next con that we have on the list is huge learning curve. Now, for some people, this actually might be a pro. For me, it's kind of a con. It's just it's a really big, like, I like a learning curve in a game, and every game is basically a learning curve. For instance, in a card game like standard Hearthstone, you have to know all the cards in order to know like what the secrets are. I mean, you have the deck tracker and everything, but you have to really be familiar with all the cards and like what the meta is, so like you know what to play around, stuff like that. If you're playing a MOBA game like Dota 2 or LOL, then you're going to have to know what all the champions do, what all their abilities do, and everything. There's always going to be a learning curve in a game, because you really do need to know everything about the game to be successful. But in Mercenaries, there's a huge learning curve. It seems like there's a lot, because I mean, there's 55 mercenaries. It's not so many, but every mercenary has 3 abilities that all have different cooldowns. They all have different speeds and different abilities, of course, different breakpoints with the amount of damage that they do. And then not to mention that every player is going to have their mercenaries at different levels with their abilities. So maybe my Sylvanas, the speed on my ability, like the maxed out speed is 4 for the first ability, but if like I only have it at 6 or 8, so or maybe my Diablo only does a certain amount of damage right now with certain abilities, but my opponent doesn't really know that. But it's still going to be a huge learning curve, because you really need to memorize every single ability. I mean, you have tools like Hearthstone Deck Tracker and Firestone that now they do show you, like Hearthstone Deck Tracker, if you hover over a character, it'll show you what their abilities are, like maxed out. So that is very nice for learning. It does help you learn the speed and the cooldowns for the abilities to see what your opponent can actually use in circumstances. But overall, like, you're gonna have to memorize this stuff eventually, and it's a lot. It is a lot. But hey, that could be a pro for you. If you are that person that's already learned all of it, then you might be like, hey, I like that it's a huge learning curve, and now I have like an advantage kind of. And yeah, I mean, every game has a learning curve. It just seems like this one's really big. And then the last con that I have here is just bugs. I mean, this is gonna happen with any game, but mostly Hearthstone, mostly Blizzard games, there's so many bugs. Hearthstone still has so many bugs in it. Now, this new update with Mercenaries has caused bugs for other game modes, like Battlegrounds and Standard. So there's also there's a lot of bugs in Mercenaries, but they're working to fix them as fast as possible, quote unquote. I believe there's still a bug that people are having where they're stuck on task 2, which is like they can't even build the pack thing, the merchant pack thing. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of bugs, but that's to be expected. So wasn't even sure if I should really include it, but yeah. That's about it for the pros and cons list. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if I missed a pro or a con, please leave it down below in the comments. I would love to hear what you think. And of course, if you're not subscribed, or if you want to like the video, it means a lot. We had about 300 views so far on that last video, which is awesome. It's almost as many subscribers as I have, so it means a lot, guys. Thank you very much for the support. It means a lot to me, and inspires me to make more content for you guys. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.